Hey there, I wanted to record a quick video on one of the homework problems. I think that when you go to get more help, this is from section 7.2 when you're doing the T test. When you view an example, it looks like the example guides you through. You can do it by hand, or you can, when you go to technology, it prompts you to use XLSTAT, which is not what I'm using. We're going to be using Statcrunch more often, and so I put the instructions on the notes handout, so you can look at the notes handout for instructions with Statcrunch. But I wanted to do this problem just to, in case you're looking at the view an example and is guiding you to how to do it with Excel, I wanted to record a video showing you how to do it with Statcrunch. So we have this data for restaurant X and restaurant Y, and we want to find the population mean. And so we're going to look at the data. So click on the icon and it brings up the data. And so go ahead and click on that other little window right on the right hand side here. And when you click on that, it asks you when to copy to clipboard, open it in Excel, or open in Statcrunch. So if you're going to follow the instructions to use XLSTAT, you have to have, first of all, the plugin in Excel in order to use XLSTAT. So you can do that, but then if you already have the plugin, if you don't, just go to Statcrunch. So we're going to open it in Statcrunch. It's going to verify our credentials, and then it's going to open up the data. And so here's our data, restaurant X and restaurant Y. Now we got to make sure, first of all, that which test are we going to use? And since we don't know, let me see if I can close some of this. Oh, it closed everything. We don't know the population standard deviation, right? There's nothing here that says the population standard deviation is something. Then we're going to use a t-test instead of a z-test. So we use the z-scores or z-test when we know the population standard deviation. We use the test when we don't know it. So in this case, nothing is given about the population, so we are going to use a t-test. So let me bring the data back in. All right, so now that I have the data back in, so we want to find the confidence interval for the population mean for restaurant X, a 95% confidence interval. So we're going to go to data. No, we're going to go to stats, and we're going to go to t-stat in one sample. And because we have the data, I'm going to do with data. If I didn't have the data, but I knew the sample mean and the sample standard deviation, then I will go with summary. So let's go with data, and we're going to select restaurant X. Now go ahead and change it from hypothesis test to confidence interval. And it will default to 95% confidence interval, which is what we want. But if we wanted to find the 90 or 99, then you can click on that and edit. So, and then that is it. You don't need to select anything else, and then just hit compute. And so this gives us our sample mean is 179, the standard error. So if you wanted to then write it out by hand, right, the mu would be between the sample mean minus the standard error, and then the sample mean plus the standard error. We have degrees of freedom are 49, and that's because we have 50 data values, right? So degrees of freedom are n-1. And so, but the nice thing about Statcrunch is that it already gives us our lower limit and upper limit for the confidence interval. So 161.05978 is the lower limit, and 196.9402. So that means that the population mean, with 95% confidence, we can say is between 161 and 196. So going back to the problem, now you can put the answers in here. Now paying attention to rounding, right? It says round to 1 decimal place. So then I'm going to write, what was it? 161.059. So I'm going to say 0.1, rounding to 1 decimal place, and then 196.9. It was 0.94, so I just keep it at 0.9. And then let's check our answer, and we did a good job. Yay. And then you will do the same thing for, now do it for the restaurant Y. And so you will do the same thing, pull up the data. I'll do this one quicker. So pull the data. well, as quick as my computer will let me. And there it is. So we're going to go to stat and we're going to do T-stats and one sample with data. Now picks restaurant Y, select confidence interval, we'll do 95 and compute. And so there's our lower limit or an upper limit for restaurant Y. All right, but you can still do it by hand. There's our sample mean, X bar 153, and the standard error is this. So you could do mu is between 153 minus the standard error and then 153 plus the standard error. And so if you do 153 minus this, you should get 138. If you go 153 plus the standard error, you should get the 167. All right, I hope that helps. You don't have to do XLSTAT. You can still do things with Statcrunch. Email me if you have any questions.